every single week and every single episode on the Fight Guys, we talk to people who are relevant, interesting, people from the combat sports world who have something exciting to say. Now, 99% of the time, I'm talking with somebody I already have a relationship with, somebody I'm friends with, someone I've trained with. But this time, I'm having to talk to someone who I've never met before, but I'm pretty excited. She's pretty interesting. She's got a lot going on. Gigi Canuto, welcome to the Fight Guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to talk to you and see what we're talking about. Maybe a little house in Vegas with a bunch of fighters or something like that, that just happened last month.
Yeah, it's, for people who don't know, you are a contestant on the current Ultimate Fighter with Cormier versus Bisping. What a journey the Ultimate Fighter is, right?
Crazy journey. I actually got the call maybe like a month before the house happened, and my immediate answer was just like, hell no, I don't want to be on this. And yeah, and then something in my heart just changed, and I was like, no, I need to do it. Because, it's super uncomfortable. You're in a house with a bunch of people, you don't know them, then you have to fight them. It's like, it's rough.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to explain to me. I was cast on The Ultimate Fighter a long time ago, longer than I want to tell you, because you'll figure out how old I am. And
I ended up, that's awesome.
I ended up not showing up for many different reasons, but one of the things I was really concerned about was back then it was over 2 months, and the compensation I believe was, I think you got like $500 a week was what you were guaranteed. So
for
there was a lot.
Well.
I don't really want to go into it too deep because this show is not about me, but I didn't do it for many different reasons. But I know.
But there are many different reasons that you wouldn't do it, because it's just it's so out there. It's like crazy show. It's definitely one of the craziest. It's the craziest experience of my 23 short years.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. You're locked in a house with a bunch of strangers, a bunch of fighters who are, every one of them is somewhat unbalanced and out of their mind. So it's definitely a crazy situation. But you've been making a lot of it. We've seen some big wins from you, haven't we?
Yeah. Well, even before the house, I was having very, very good performances, and I was super happy about it. And I was just like, yeah, this is definitely going to give me the call to go straight into the UFC. And then I got the TUF opportunity, which is like even better if you're trying to make it into the UFC, in my opinion, because they get to build you up. People get to actually know you a little bit more than just fighting. They get to learn about your personality and how you were on your day to day. And then the coaches asked me if I wanted to fight in the first week. And I said, yeah. So basically how the show is posted or how they come out with the show is one fight a week, but we all fight on the first week, back to back. And then the next week back to back. And then they kind of make it one episode per person because they want to people to know who you are and tell your story and stuff. But they asked me if I wanted to fight on the very first week, and I was like, fuck it, I'm down to fight. And then they were like, who do you want? And I was just like, I have an option. And I just asked for this girl from Pakistan that I unfortunately don't remember her name. But it was crazy experience. Within maybe 5 days, I was making weight and fighting, and I've never done that before.
It's crazy how the filming is and the real life experience is so much different than what's presented on TV as far as timing.
Oh my God.
What really goes on, right?
It's so different. And even how you speak of things, because they have a confessional room where you go into and you talk about, they're always speak in present because we can use this at any time, and it's just you're never oh, yesterday we did this. It's always so we're doing that. And then this person told me, and it's it's not, it's all it's always in the present. And then I would always mess up and be this person was mad, and they were no, you need to speak in the present. This person is mad because we can use this at any time. And the way they edit, it's always to fill in the narrative, so sometimes I've watched myself even these last 4 weeks, I'm I didn't say it like that, and it's just completely edited. But they got to do what they got to do, and it's fun to watch though.
It's a real psychological test, huh? Because they can edit you and make you look like anything and everything they want, no matter how
Yes.
nice or how bad you are.
Yeah, they can make you look ridiculous. But I think there's a little bit of peace that I get in knowing that it's just a TV show, because like people obviously are going to perceive you based on what they're showing, but what they're showing is just for the TV show to be entertaining. They wouldn't just show you being nice all the time. Like I thought about this while I was in the house too. I was like, man, if I'm just like training and sleeping and eating and not giving a fuck about anybody, I'm probably going to get like 2 seconds of screen time, because it's not
Yeah.
entertaining. So they're constantly trying to get people that are making a move on the house and like making narratives, and like even I had beef like the first 2 days with somebody, so it was pretty fun. And also like we're all cutting away, we're all bored, so obviously something is bound to happen, right?
Yeah, for sure. Now, I want to ask you, Canuto, that's your married name?
Uh-huh.
That doesn't sound very Portuguese or Brazilian.
Yeah, so my married name is Hill. Actually, Canuto is mine.
Oh,
Is
okay.
my dad's side of the family, but I've always loved Canuto a lot more than Caxias because that's my other middle name. And when I came to the United States, everybody would call me Giovanni because I didn't have Gigi yet, so they would say
Hmm.
Giovanni, and then they would say Caxias because you guys pronounce like the X different. So then I was like, okay, I need something that's easier. And then I was like, Gigi for Giovanna. And then Canuto is much easier, rolls better, on the tongue. And then,
Yeah. Is that
but
is
yeah,
that
that's
is that an
that's
Italian
my
name?
father's name. So I thought it was Italian, but I did an ancestry and it gave me all sorts of things. And one of the biggest one was Portuguese and French.
Yeah.
So I was like, and then a lot of like indigenous, like because I'm from Manaus and it's like a town in the middle of the Amazon.
Yeah, I
So I
know where
have
it
a lot
is.
of like native blood from there. Yeah, so it's pretty sick. It's like a good mix.
It's the home of Jungle Fight and Walid Ismail, right? His
Yes,
show.
yes. Jose Aldo, Diego Lopez. I've known Diego my entire life basically, and there's something in the water out there for sure.
Now, the other thing I wanted to compliment you on is your English is like perfect.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been getting like so many messages about it. And I always tell people that I started it like anyone, like I was like, "Hi, how are you?" And like I couldn't speak much English, but I think um I had this big agreement basically with myself, which was like I don't want to speak with an accent, and I would be very stubborn about it, and I was just like repeating words to myself. And then I watched a ton of TV shows like that I already had watched in Portuguese, so I kind of knew what was happening. And then I just basically rewatched them over and over again. And I was like, that's what they're saying. But
That's funny.
it was sort of like a natural thing. Like maybe like within 4 or 5 months, I was like I was pretty fluent. And it's one of my biggest flex for sure.
Hey, you're doing great. Another thing I wanted to compliment you on is, I mean, you're supposed to be a grappler, but your striking
Mhm.
is absolutely awesome. I love watching you stand up. You really have some commitment to your punches and kicks, and it's really a hit or miss. There's lots of world class grapplers who come into MMA and just cannot figure it out, but you seem to have it figured out.
Yeah. It's another thing too. Like I just had a big agreement with myself where I was like, if I'm gonna do MMA, I can't just be a grappler because that eventually I see like a lot of people that are very good at grappling, it kind of like carries them to like a high level. And then eventually when they get to that level where everybody is good and like everybody's good at has like good grappling defense, and then they kind of like find themselves a little bit lost. So I was like, I don't even want to get to that point. I want to be able to work on my striking. I'm in love with boxing. I think in another life I would have done boxing from a young age because I just love
Really?
boxing. Um, so then another funny fact is that I love boxing so much, but I somehow always kick in my fights and I never kick in training. So,
Well,
it just kind of happens. And then like,
I saw that fight recently where you did that front kick to that girl a couple times, and it was funny because first
yeah,
thing Bisping said, "Don't do that," and you did it right away again, which I thought was funny.
yeah. I was like, Bispin, love you, but like, you know me for a week now. I'm gonna keep doing this because it's working, but it's pretty funny. We talked about it right after, and he was like, I said don't do that, but then you were stubborn enough, so that helped you. And I was just like, yeah, thank you. But I also came into the back and I told him, because the plan was to box 4 takedowns. So like you box to get them overwhelmed and get them thinking that you're gonna do striking and then take them down. But I was telling them, I think that with this girl, I can kick her to the belly. And they were like, really? And I was just like, yeah. And I was like, the beauty about living with someone is that when they walk by you, you get to like examine them, like I've never had that opportunity. So I'm like, dude, I've been living with this girl. I genuinely think I can kick her to the belly and I don't think she'll take it. Um, and they were like, well, if you say so, like, let's try it. And then I do it. Like, they thought that I was going to do it like later on. So I do the first thing that I do is that. And then Bisping's like, that wasn't the game plan. Don't do that. And yeah, I was just like, no, I think it's going to work. So I think that was kind of like my personality showing in the way that I fight, because I'm pretty stubborn sometimes.
And how's your experience been with my old coach, Jason Parillo?
Oh, I love Jason. I think he's the chillest guy in the world, and then sometimes his craziness comes out, but
Oh, he's
honestly,
very
just
real.
a great. Yeah. I mean, he was super chill until we asked him about sparring in fight week. Then he just lost it because he was like, every world champion that I've trained with loves to spar. And I was just like, we were all like, no, that's not it. Like, we love to spar, but like, this is a whole different show, like you basically are having to spar 3 days before you make weight. And like, we've never had to do that. Like, we're off carbs and stuff and we got to do it, because there's no other option when you're sparring.
Yeah.
And it was just so funny because he was like, if you want to be the ultimate fighter, like it's going to be hard and you're going to do things that aren't natural. And ever since that day, we were kind of just like fucking around with him. And he's just super, like, super real. Doesn't, like you said, doesn't like he doesn't bullshit. Like, he would just say you some shit to your face and you're like, oh my God, I don't even know you like that much. But like, he just says it. And great pad man, great boxer, like just learned so much from him while I was in the house. Not even just about boxing, just about like mindset and like going into the fights. I was talking to him in the back a lot. So I learned a lot from him, from Brady, from Michael Bisping, obviously. And yeah, it was just an experience like that you get once in a lifetime. So when are you in a team with Michael Bisping and Jason Parillo? Like you don't really have that many times. So it's cool.
I've been in the room with them. I was in the room with them for years. Aruka, they're both studs for sure. How much harder do you punch now from Parillo? Like, he teaches you how to hit harder. You have to learn how to wrap your hands better.
Oh yeah, he actually started. It's funny you say that. He actually started to wrap my hands midway through the show because we were hitting pads, and I was like, dude, I need to wrap my hands. And I never wrap my hands because I feel like I punch like correctly, but it got to a point where I was punching so hard that I was like, I need my wrists to be like taped up and stuff, because we were just like, how he does this? I'm sure you've seen it. He's like, where's she at? Where is she at? Like, I gotta find her and stuff. And he has such a swag to how he holds pads that people usually just hold like this, and he's like dancing, So it was a cool style to like learn, And then obviously he was like telling me, because he wasn't trying to fix like everything, Obviously he's a good coach, so he recognizes that he needs a lot more time to do that. And he was like, well, we have like 4 or 5 weeks. Like, we need to basically just fill in the gaps and like kind of just tying in some screws. And I love that, because my biggest fear going into the show is like, are these people going to teach me a whole different way to like fight and like try to like build me into something that I'm not going to be able to achieve in 4 weeks, But they were very, very flexible and obviously experienced. So they were able to kind of just shape their training for everybody in a good way. So I love that.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been having a pretty good experience and you've been winning, so that's great. I want to change gears real quick. I want to get your opinion on something out of left field. What do you think about this weekend's matchup, Conor versus Max Holloway? And are you going to be
there? Of course you're going to ask me that question. It's Bet Online podcast. Well, my heart is kind of like broken because I love both of them, obviously. I think that if you're a fight fan and you don't like Max Holloway and Conor, like, what are you doing? Like, you basically just need to watch another sport. And then to put them to fight again together, it's just like, oh, fuck. And then the first fight, obviously, Max Holloway was so young, and Conor was kind of like in his up and coming phase. Uh, but I genuinely believe you can never bet against Conor. You can never like count him out 100%. But I believe that Max is going to be a little bit better. I think that he's going to have that like he's going to be a little bit faster. But I don't know, dude. Like, I genuinely think that Conor could come back and do it because he's just Conor. He has that thing. Like, he's just Conor. So if I could put my money on someone, I would put it on Max, though, to be quite like honest. But you can't ever count Conor out.
I feel like if Conor's going to win, he's got to do it in the first round with his striking. But yeah, it's hard to think. It's hard for anybody to come back after taking that much time off. I don't care how good or how athletic you are. When you take 5 years off to try to come back and compete with the best is a big, big challenge.
But I actually thought that he was gonna come back like maybe a little bit slower with like a money fight, or like someone that would give him sort of like a good warm-up fight. I didn't expect him to just go straight to Max. Max is a dog, like he's gonna be pointing out of the ground and stuff. So I'm like, man, I don't know. I also don't know how Conor's chin is now 5 years later. I know that Max has an indestructible chin, besides the Ilya fight. That guy just never gets rocked ever, so it's a hard fight for Conor, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Not an easy fight, but we're going to wrap it up.
Is it at 170, though?
What's that?
Is it at 170?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know how Max is going to do at 170, though.
They're both big. They're both massive for 55. Like, I don't even know how Max ever made 45. He's a big dude. He's not little.
I know. Fuck, I don't know. I think I'm still going with Max.
Okay. Well, listen, we're going to wrap it up, Gigi. We are stoked to see you with Ultimate Fighter. We want to see your continued success. One of the best female grapplers who put together some striking, and that's what's always exciting. So for Erik Apple and the Fight Guys, thank you guys for checking us out, and we will see you next week.